Hi, and welcome to Connected Conversations for Creatives, a place where creatives like you can learn, grow, and connect. I'm your host, Jennifer Carr. Imagine a world where your deepest passions collide, sparking a symphony of excitement and possibility. When the stars align and your varied interests just seamlessly meld into a single exhilarating career, magic happens. It can set you on a thrilling journey of discovery where creativity knows no bounds and innovation just flourishes. When passions converge, they breathe life into a career that's not just a job, but an adventure, a lifelong pursuit that ignites your soul. Today's guest is here to share her story of the excitement that happens when multiple passions merge and transform into a career that goes against convention and sparks joy at every turn. From costume and fashion designer to advertising executive, Nancy Soule knew she wanted to incorporate her talents and creative abilities into her career. When she left a college teaching job to become a jazz singer on the open sea, it became clear to her that she had made the right choice. Nancy has compiled her years of experience and knowledge in her book, Work at Sea, See the World, An Insider's Secrets to the Working Life on a Cruise Ship. In it, she presents the benefits of sea living, the adventures that come with chasing after a passion, and the opportunities for personal growth and development. I hope you're ready to embark on this voyage of discovery where a love for music and adventure has fused together and inspired what has become a harmonious journey of passion and purpose. And to tell us about her own journey is Nancy Soule. So welcome to the show, Nancy.
Oh my gosh, Jennifer, that was the most amazing introduction I've ever had. That was so eloquent and so beautiful and positively poetic.
Thank you. Well, I do like writing in my spare time, so
I can tell. Yeah, being a fellow author, I understand. Yeah, that was lovely.
Oh, well, thank you. And I'm so glad you're here. And I am such a fan of hearing stories about passions being pursued and then turning into more. But first, before we start talking too deep into those passions and careers, just tell us about yourself.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I've had many careers in my life, and I've been a costume designer, a fashion designer. I taught fashion design for a while. I had a store. Then I always had kind of a band on the side because the music was always my thing. And I went from a cappella groups to a blues band to a party band to a corporate, wedding kind of thing. And that was always in the background, even though I had a real day job. So came a point where I had been staying with my aunt who then passed away, and I really didn't have a home. And I thought, well, let's explore this. What are the options? So I put my little resume and my demo up online. Thank God for the internet. And I was approached by a guy in Florida who said, "Oh, I'm putting together a band. You're perfect. You're exactly what I need." I played keyboards and I sang. He said, "Come on out." I say, "Okay." So I packed up, shoved everything I owned into storage, and packed up my car, drove across the country from San Diego all the way to Ocala, Florida, and we tried to put together a little duo for a while, and we put that together and sent in the video, playing for burgers and beer, and the agents went, "Oh, yeah, that's really nice, but we really need a quartet." It's like, okay, so we're trying to dig up more people, and anyway, that went for about 6 months, and finally that band kind of fell apart, and one of the members had to bail, and so it kind of crashed and burned. So in the meantime, my drummer was from Germany. We'd finally found a drummer, and this little girl, thank God, had come into town because she wanted to work ships and she wanted to work in America. It's like, perfect. And I needed somebody around because all these boys are around. It's like, it's getting a little tight. Yeah, they're a little pushy. Anyway, so she had to either go back to Germany when the band fell apart, or she had to get a gig. So we bundled up all our stuff in the car and said, well, Nashville, Music City, how obvious. Okay, we'll get you a gig. Ambitious that we were. So we piled ourselves in the car, started heading for Nashville. We got as far as Atlanta, got stuck in an ice storm. That never happens in Georgia, apparently, so they say. So we were in a hotel for 3 days, was watching the ice collect in the parking lot before we could get out. But while we were stuck in that hotel in our big comfy beds, we got an email because both of us had tried to get online, try to find something, and I got contacted by some guys in Canada that said, "Oh, we'd love to have you in the band. We need a singer." It's like, that's perfect. But the dilemma was, when I had made initial contact with these guys, I was still in Ocala, the middle of freaking nowhere in Florida. And so my AT&T phone didn't work. So I got a little flip phone, from Walmart, but I could only call inside the United States. These guys are both in Canada. So how am I going to stay in touch? What am I going to do? So I called my sister in Seattle, who called the drummer in Montreal, who called the pianist in Vancouver, to see that they all got a chance to look at the video and see it was okay. So from all of that, by the time I got to Georgia, I got a phone call that said, "We looked at your stuff. We'd love to have you in the band." I'm like, yes. I said, "Can you wait for me?" It's like, I'm stuck in the middle of nowhere. Well, they're not quite done with what they're doing. They're not ready for me yet anyway. Yeah, this is perfect. So that was the beginning of my career on ships. And that was 2011. So wow. I headed around the East Coast, visited some friends, did some stuff, and finally got myself back to San Diego, unloaded all my stuff, and we got a contract the following August, and I got to fly to Hawaii, and we sailed all the way down through Tahiti, Morelia, Bora Bora, Auckland to Sydney. We went all the way around Australia. We went to Bali. We went to Tasmania. Went back to Sydney. Back and forth to New Zealand like 5 times. It was awesome. I went, oh my God, where have I been all my life? How did I not know this was a thing? So that was the beginning of my career on ships, and I haven't stopped since. So I'm still not really singing anymore. I kind of transitioned into being more a wardrobe contractor, getting all the wardrobe stuff together and the theatrical stuff, because they decided they didn't want jazz so much. So, okay, that's fine, but I can't sing also. So that's what I've been doing. So I love the bands that are on board now. They're fabulous, and that's what I'm trying to incorporate now with the book, was just telling people what an amazing job this is, along with the downsides. There are some disadvantages, but the upsides are too amazing. So that is wild. I love that. There you go.
That's fantastic. So before that, what was your travel like? Vacations or anything like that? Like, what was your travel experience?
Yeah, I had been on a ship a couple of times. I'd gone one with my parents-in-law back in a long time ago, and I discovered that and went, oh, this is cool. I just been there as a guest and living near LA for a while. I did a couple of those little short, carnival, couple of day things down to Ensenada. If you just need a weekend to get away with, they were cheap and it's like fun. But those are just kind of drinking party ships. Yeah, not the world traveling that I'm doing now. So I just got back from Italy, and I'm home for a couple of weeks, and then I go back to the Caribbean, and I've seen probably 70 countries at least. I think I've lost count.
That's wild. So are you always on a boat? Or are you somewhere now where you're taking some time off a boat?
Yeah, no, I had to arrange this for a time when I was not on a boat, because the Wi-Fi is a little sketchy, and the sound quality is impossible. There's always an engine or an air conditioning or something making noise someplace, so you just can't have any silence at all. So I had to wait until I was at home. So I'm in Seattle, outside Seattle, and I'm still on an island, so there's still a lot of water around. So that's comforting.
Nice. So I'm guessing the water plays a big part just in your everyday mental health and well-being then.
Honestly, it really does. I mentioned that at the beginning of my book, that I can't imagine living anywhere outside of water.
Now, were you always even childhood kind of thing? Were you always a singer? Was music always a big part of your life, or is that something that just kind of happened?
Yeah. I've been singing since I was 5. Yeah, I drove my family absolutely nuts. Singing in the car. Well, in fact, when I was 5, my mother had passed away when I was 2, and so my dad had remarried when I was 5, and so to sort of celebrate this family connection with two families coming together, he wanted something kind of different, and so we went to our dentist, their dentist, my dad's dentist, had a studio in his basement, and he had this giant 9-foot Bosendorfer grand piano. And my sister played clarinet, and my stepsister played flute, and we all, sang, and we told a little Christmas story. And I remember my very first memory of music was standing up on that piano bench with this giant, windscreen over the microphone, just doing my little teapot with the whole choreography, and some little song about now I'm 5, and there are animal songs. It's like, ow! My sister just put it on a CD. I'm like, Elise, it is amazing. I was like, not bad for a 5-year-old. Okay, I was on pitch. So that was the beginning. Now I haven't stopped since.
I love it. Music has always been a huge part of our world. We're all musicians. I play the clarinet, the French horn, and the trumpet, and my kid plays the piano, and my husband plays the saxophone, and we all sing, and so music has always been just part of our world, and it never really occurred to me that it's just one of so many creative outlets that go together. And you have taken, music, and you've taken your writing and all of these things, and you've kind of combined them into like this amazing career. What is different about creatively expressing yourself through music and creatively expressing yourself through your costume design? Like, do you use similar, I mean, you're clearly a storyteller, right? Yeah,
it's kind of it all kind of ties together. It's amazing. My pandemic exercise of sorts was learning the French horn. Because I was trying to support my breath, it's keeping my singing chops going, and I thought, okay, this would be really good. I had no idea how hard it is. Oh my God. There's a whole lot of tube you got to get your air through. So I love the French horn. It's absolutely beautiful. My sister plays clarinet. There's lots of music in our family. But yeah, combining them all just kind of makes sense. Even though I'm costuming on the ships now, there are little jazz clubs on some of the big ships, and I managed to squiggle my way in and sit in sometimes, and they let me play again. It's like, I still got the chops. It's all good.
Oh, jazz is my favorite. Like, jazz is my favorite genre of music. If I could choose one to listen to all the time, I mean, the 40s, they had it going on. I'm telling you, like that was like
absolutely
the pinnacle of music for me. That's what my between 90s pop or 40s junction on Sirius XM, like those are my channels. That's all I listen to. And so huge fan of jazz music. And honestly, I picked the clarinet because I wanted to be Jenny Goodman. I didn't want to be the next Benny Goodman. And so that was why I chose it. I love jazz music. Was that always your passion? Like jazz, you're always your thing too?
Pretty much, because it's the kind of thing where I spent so many years doing cover bands, and I don't want to be Madonna. They were making me do Michael Jackson and James Brown. Come on, I'm a little old white girl. Come on. So I was like, no, I could do it. So no, jazz was the only thing that gave me my own voice, and I just saw a fabulous documentary about Dave Brubeck that was so inspiring because he was just the cutting edge of breaking out of the whole regulation time signatures and just do something creative. He doesn't even read music. I was like, right? Really? Amazing. That's so encouraging. So anyway, it's just I do them all the time. It seems there's really no line between them that I can find.
Yeah, jazz is one of those. It to me, it's where real musicians are found, like in jazz music, whether it's vocal or instrumental. Like that is where real musicians are born.
Absolutely. Well, that's part of what I'm trying to do with the book. Is I'm trying to put together a course on an online one-on-one live thing to help people understand how to do that, because jazz musicians are the best for this particular job, because you have to read like a monster. And you have to be willing to jump on things quickly, and so I'm trying to expose more people to how to do that. So what I'm trying to find is more people that will give me the input of what they want and how I can build that to support their efforts in music, because it's you're going to get paid to travel the world while you're doing this. It's like,
yes, and Yes, and what a fantastic experience for, maybe that young adult who is still like, I've got all of these creative talents and no real direction. I know as a creative, I have struggled in my life, like trying to figure out how can I use my creativity without getting bored at work and having, and when I was single, right? Obviously, it's probably a little harder as a married person to, unless you take your spouse with you or to have a family on a cruise ship. But yeah, just to find that direction. So I love that. And that's kind of what inspired you to write your book to kind of to bring attention to, yeah.
Yeah, the original plan was to be for musicians, and the publisher went, oh, yeah, too small a market. And it's like, really? Come on, that's kind of a big pitch. You don't realize, but because there's like over 900 people that are hired every year for all these various ships. But I thought, okay, all right, I'll take your advice. I'll do what you ask. So I made it more general, so it's got a list of everybody's job in the front. But that's why I'm going to follow it up with a more specific thing specifically for the musicians. It's called Notes That Float.
Well, I like it.
That's a new course that's coming, and I'm looking for people interested to see. I'm looking for the 19 to 35 is the primary target. People who are not too overly committed to location and willing to go see the world and spend probably 4 months. When you're starting out, you're going to have 4 months. Once you get more into the system and you've been proving yourself, you can sign up to be just a replacement. You may just have to come in for a week or 2 weeks to fill in for somebody who couldn't get there in time to make their full contract. So there are options, but for the most part, that takes a while to get into that system of being able to be proven reliable and consistent and skilled enough to handle the job.
So what are some of the benefits of taking a job like that, aside from getting to see the world? Because that's a massive perk, and getting paid to do it, that is a pretty big perk. But what are some of the benefits, especially for musicians?
Just being able to expand your skills and your repertoire, because you're playing every night. It's like, we play in a band. We don't work. This is fun. And we get to do it every day. So it's a chance to learn more repertoire and stay in touch more with the new stuff that's coming out if you want to, or just polish your skills and other things. My heart goes out to the sax players, because, especially in the orchestra, because if they're playing alto, they're probably also playing tenor and flute and clarinet. It's like, so they're practicing constantly. If they're not working, they're practicing, because that's just the joy of it. And you've got so many you have to learn. That just amazes me. That's a lot to handle. Trombone player, he will play the trombone. The drummer plays the drums.
That weapon player, however.
Yeah, my French horn is completely useless. I'm sorry. And I certainly can't carry it on an airplane. So
no, they don't put that one in the overhead bins. Not easily.
No. I did discover, though, that if you carry a harmonica, do not put it in your carry-on luggage, because they think it's a gun clip.
Oh my gosh,
I know.
Thrilling.
Go figure. Well, I've had that trouble. I took my horn mouthpiece just to buzz. I learned how to buzz. And I can't put that in there either, because it's hard, it's metal, and it shows up. It's like, okay, put it in the check stuff.
Okay. Wow. Metal. Wow. What do you do with that? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, for a musician, you don't have to go looking for gigs. It's like built-in gigs. Every night it's there. You're getting paid one way or the other. And
with no overhead. With no overhead.
That's right. Like you're not, and you're not having to put in the footwork and call people and be like, hey, can I play at your place? And
no.
And you get real money.
Yeah, and you got a room, and you got food as much as you can eat, and it's and plus you get night care. All your health care is covered as a crew member. So anything happens to you, they're looking out for you. And yeah, this is the nice thing about if you have bands that are interested in being on board. It's good that you've got more than one singer, because if somebody gets laryngitis or gets hoarse or gets tired, having somebody else to cover for you is great to, keep things, because you got to keep the schedule no matter what. So,
yeah. So are other skills maybe like how much of the business side of, are there business skills that you learn in this kind of experience? I don't know. I'm just asking.
There are. A lot of them have to do with teamwork, with managing diversity, because you're dealing with probably 60 to 80 different countries on one ship of the people that are from all different countries all over the world. And being able to communicate with people and being able to work together and be flexible. Chances are you might have to share a cabin with somebody. So you have to be cooperative and respectful and have a certain level of tolerance for other people around you, because you are in a little floating city. So, and you can't just get off and go home. Well, you can, but it's a little bit of a challenge. You can do it.
Far swim to get back to home. Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't want to have to do that. And you're having too much fun. You don't want to do that anyway. So
sure. Well, and that's what I was kind of thinking. Not only are you getting to use skills you already have, but you're developing skills that are going to be useful in life as you go on. And so even if you don't go directly, I'm thinking this would be a fantastic opportunity for someone who's maybe taking a gap year, between high school and college, or whatever, something along those lines. And then you're also developing these skills that will come in handy when you do hit the workforce if you aren't, still on a cruise ship.
Exactly. I reprinted an article that was written by a man named Sean Sassoon, who's now a real estate agent in Fort Lauderdale, but he was crewed for a long time. And he wrote a fabulous article about the tremendous benefits of things you can put on your resume now that you've done that, even if you've just done one contract, that you can recount as skills and extra bennies of, being flexible and the teamwork and the diversity and all that sort of thing. And because there's like 18 ways. I put together a little freebie of, things the advantages that you get by having done this job once. So there's lots of advantages.
Yeah, no, that's great. And the first time I ever went on a cruise, the event planner, basically, she's the event coordinator for all the things that were going on. And, she's right. And I saw her do her job, and I immediately went, I could totally picture my kid doing that one day. Like she's just one of those Beverly personalities, and you have to have that kind of connection with people. Is this, and I am not that way. Like I am behind the scenes, if I have to deal with people, I'm probably especially on a social level, this right here, I'm good. We're golden. Put me on a stage in front of a bunch of people, I'm good. But put me in this weird social situation where I have to be, hospitality and stuff. I get a little weird. I get really awkward really fast. So what kind of personalities work best for this job? Is it, the more outgoing extroverts? Can it work for anybody?
It really can work for anybody. It depends on what your job is and what your skills are, because it's, as I say, it's a floating city. So, we got secretaries, we got people working in the back office that never see people at all. And then on the other end, we've got cruise staff that are jumping around and, hosting bingo and parties and 70s dancing and line dancing and all the fun stuff like that. So anything in between. Probably one of my favorite jobs, if I was not doing what I was doing, would be working shore excursions, because there's a certain amount of paperwork involved, but they have to go on the excursions to be able to recommend them to the guests. Okay. That's another benny of being a crew member too, because you can usually, now that this COVID thing is sort of over, you can go as what they call an escort on some of the excursions, so that the guests have somebody between the tour guide and the ship to sort of looking out for people, be sure everybody gets back on the bus and da-da-da-da. So you get to go on these excursions for free. So I can't count the number of times I've been up to the Pantheon, the Parthenon rather, in Greece and the places I've been. It's just, I take advantage of every opportunity I possibly could.
Yeah, no, the benefits alone, just the expanding your horizons in so many literal ways, like that.
Exactly, literally. Yeah. It just changes your whole perspective on life, So, yeah, traveling just makes all the difference. It just gives you so much more empathy about people of other countries. I love, at least my particular company has been really good about looking out for our Ukrainian and Russian employees. We have ice skaters, we have dancers, we have acrobats that can't go home, or don't want to because, they're going to make them go fight or something. It's like, no, they're freaking musicians. Do their thing. So they just book them to go ship to ship to ship if they can, until they have somewhere to go if they need to. And just a tremendous appreciation for the skills of so many different countries and different cultures. That's just fabulous.
I can't imagine. Like it, we've spent time in multiple countries doing different things, whether it was vacation or, service work, that kind of thing. And that it's very eye opening. Like it makes you very grateful for what you can go home to, because some of them have, when they don't want to go home for whatever reason. And so, I bet traveling does give you a huge appreciation for what you've got waiting for you on the other side.
It really does. And it opens your mind to the possibilities and the situations of other people that are maybe not as fortunate as you have been, that you can share with them and help them move on to something new. So it's just a tremendous experience.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting, and it makes me, I love my life and I love my family, and I'm thinking, why did I know about this when I was younger? Like, because I would have jet setted, baby.
Oh yeah, I found out about too late. I mean, I was kind of on the cusp. I was kind of over the age, but I could do what I had to do. And this is a nice thing about musicians. You don't necessarily have to fit into that age range because it takes that long to get those kind of skills to be able to do what you do. So we do have musicians that are older, and I have a whole chapter in the book about the over 40s. It's how life will be different versus the 20 years that are there.
I was going to ask if, you had mentioned an age range, but I was going to ask if there was an age limit, because I'm thinking, I know some retirees who, they would be a hoot and a holler on a cruise ship.
Well, the problem is you're hired essentially as a rescue worker. Your job title is completely secondary. So as long as you are healthy and fit and agile and can support the entire crew in an emergency, that's what they're looking for. So they put everybody through a very strict medical before you're even hired to be sure you can, cut it. And if you can get past that, it's all good. But, I'm thinking if you're planning to work a cruise ship, you probably have some pretty good capacity for health and wellness, I would think. I would hope so. Because I've had some people, especially when I was with the band, people would come and say, oh man, my grandfather, plays killer keyboard. He'd be great in the scooter bar. It's like, nah, you're not going to put, an 80-year-old man in a bunk bed. Share with a 20-year-old. No, that's not going to happen. It was no. They're valid. Yeah, that's valid. No, well, I think their preference was, it would be. It's fun. There are some people who can go as speakers. They're not paid. They get a free cruise out of it. Yeah. But so if you have expertise in a location, like the Northeast, where they know all the history of the stuff that's going on up there, or some of the islands, or they're exotic places where they have some knowledge about the locations, they may hire them to come on and do a speaking thing for a couple of weeks and then go home. You bring your wife, and that's kind of cool. But again, you're not really paid. You just get a free cruise.
Some of those cruises, that's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, they used to teach ballroom dancing, too. There was a couple in Australia that were just awesome at that. But no, they're not doing that so much anymore.
No, things have changed a little bit because, people don't appreciate good art forms like ballroom dancing. But
even though we have amazing ballroom dancers in our productions, in our shows, that are just phenomenal. These kids are just so amazing. And, the whole Dancing with the Stars thing's kind of got everybody moving. And that was a cool idea. But it's, it's the old days of the Jack Lemmon and, the movie of, what is it called? Back to Sea, Out at Sea, something like that, where they were dancing. That's not a thing anymore.
It's not. And it's funny because I'm thinking, there are people, even, young people who have all of these skills, and they're like, I would love to be able to use all of these skills in some form or fashion, but where do I go? And I'm thinking, well, now I know where to tell you to go, because that you need all of these different creative types and abilities and talents. Like, that's wild.
You really do. There's just so many options, and as I say, it's from anybody from the back of the house that were working in the offices that you never see, to the guys up front, to the cruise director who's just yah in front of everybody all the time. So
That's awesome.
a lot of options.
Oh yeah, lots of options. So where would you suggest if, say there was a guy who plays the drums and he's like, I really would love to play the drums forever. And they're like, oh, maybe I could get on a cruise ship. How would they go about starting that process?
Well, my book has a couple of websites that they can tap into, and probably the best way, especially for their musicians, they would be to hit my website, nancysoule.net, because I have links to the book, but I also have freebie things for musicians, and I'm hoping that people will contact me through my contact on the website, such that I can gather the people that are really, really interested in making this thing happen, and are so that they have a chance to find out if they're really qualified, who they're going to go to for an audition, how they set it up, what's involved, how much time commitment, all that sort of stuff. I'm happy to fill them all in, because that's a whole another subject all by itself.
Okay, so this is the part where we're going to flip the script and you get to talk about anything you want to talk about.
The musicians things is my favorite, but I will throw in a little bit, because I know that there's sort of some misconceptions from a lot of people that cruise ships are out there polluting the oceans, and that is so not true. We go to at least my company, I can only vouch for Royal Caribbean, but they go to great lengths for, in fact, our newest ships are coming out that are natural gas, that are, completely non-pollutant. We recycle absolutely everything. And they have even the things that they do have to put through the incinerator, we have scrubbers that are in the stacks, so that even the stuff you see coming out the top is not dirty smoke. It's clean smoke. Isn't that amazing? So I had a marvelous conversation with the environmental officer on a couple of these ships about all the extents of the things that the processes and the things they put everything in through for microbiomes that eat things and don't break things down. So there is a certain amount of water that's put back into the ocean, but it's clean. It's clean, processed, and it just, it kind of just feeds the fish. We're not contributing to the water temperature changes or any of that. In fact, we have one ship so far that I know of that has a little bubble thing on the hull with one of the newer ships, where it puts little bubbles as it floats, so that the fuel efficiency is better and there's less disruption to the environment. I mean, it just kind of glides. It's amazing. It's like phenomenal. It's just, I'm so proud of the company as far as how they're protecting the ocean, and they're supporting, Save the Waves and the Wildlife Federation and all that sort of thing. So, in fact, I tried to use a part of the proceeds from my book to support the Ocean Conservancy. And I'm still doing some of that, but I wanted to be able to use like their logo or something on the book. And they went, oh, that's a lovely idea. Well, we would require a $50,000 donation. Say, oh, it's going to take me a long time to sell that many books. So I just do my own little portion of my proceeds that I donate on my own. So but I'm trying to support the ocean. So what I'm trying to do with the musician project, too, is I'm trying to support the Jazz Foundation, because they're just, I mean, as you said, jazz is the bomb. And the mental stimulation and advances of things that it does to your brain is just so amazing. I mean, you look at all the old musicians. Robert was 92, and Tony Bennett. I mean, oh my gosh! I mean, they just keep going. It's amazing. That's what music does to the brain. So keep it going.
I agree. I think that when we get into music, when we allow music to become part of us, and we kind of become part of the music, it does change your brain chemistry, and it keeps your brain active. They always talk about how life expectancy can be expanded when you keep your brain active. Music is a fantastic way, like good music is a fantastic way to keep your brain active, because if you're listening for it, there's math and there's art and there's science in music. And so it kind of your whole brain lights up when it comes to music. And so, yeah,
That
if
is
you
so
want to
true.
extend your life, listen to good music.
Yeah. Oh, and the playing of it is even more because you're actively participating and you're working through all of those processes. It's phenomenal. Just, yeah. Well, I'm not telling you, you're a musician.
Well, and you know what? You're never too old to try. I mean, you maybe all you get out of the piano is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, but it's still going to change your brain and it's going to teach you a new skill. And that is just one more thing that will help your life expectancy and the quality of life that you lead.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know several people who have taken up piano at 75, you know, and here, why not? It's never too late.
Why not? Absolutely. And that's true for everything. Like it is never, I mean, it might be too late to go work on a cruise ship at some point, but
Yeah.
it's never too late.
But you can do is still play. You can still play. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's
You can just go on a cruise ship and listen to the music. That's the part. You can be, we need guests just as much as we need crew members. So without the guests, it's not nearly as much fun. I did some of the ones back to service after the pandemic, and it was very weird having an empty ship.
I bet it was. I bet that was almost creepy.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And then we got to, like we started with 700 people for a ship that holds like 5,000. And little by little, we got up to half, and that was good for a while. Until finally they let it out. It's like, okay, we're doing good. We're doing good. Now they're back to full. So, okay.
Yeah,
It's a party.
it changes the whole vibe. I'm sure of it. Like I can't a ghost ship. Ooh, that would make a really good novel. You should write that book.
Ooh, yeah. It's kind of like that we're doing during dry dock. Because every 5 years, each of the ships goes into dry dock for, refurbishment and, working things. And that's a crazy life because, yeah. The whole ship is
I'm thinking
full of contractors with tool belts. It's like most of them don't speak English. It's interesting.
I'm seeing you're going to get a pen name and you're going to write this book and it's going to be a murder mystery and you're going to have to solve it as one of the crew members. Oh, I'm waiting for this book now. You should write it.
Oh, that was a good idea. Absolutely. Okay. Write that down. I'm on that.
I do it. All that firsthand. I mean, it will be like realism too. Like it'll be the real story. Okay.
Okay. Now that I've done the first person thing, it's time to find a character. I did have somebody contact me, a couple of people contact me about making a movie out of it, and I went, are we ready for the Love Boat again? Really? I don't know. Maybe.
Baby, I don't think it would.
This story sounds more plausible.
When we were in contact the first time, I was like, this is so different. Like, what an interesting way for creativity to be made available for people and for them to use their creativity and their talents and that kind of thing. So I was like, we've got to have this conversation because it's just unique. And so I'm glad to see it out there because I've never seen it before. So congratulations and kudos for the book that's out there.
Well, thank you. Because when I did it, I thought, why doesn't anybody tell anybody about this? I mean, some people have written some about, they have little stories about they were chasing their Romanian girlfriend, and so they took a job just so they could do that. And there's, this is what goes on in the crew bar, and da-da-da-da-da. But it doesn't tell you anything about how to do this or why would you want to do this. So I figured, all right, somebody's got to do it. It might as well be me.
Good for you. And so tell us again your website and if there's social media places where listeners can connect with you and your work.
Sure. So the book is called Work at Sea, See the World. It's an insider's secrets to the working life on a cruise ship. It's available at Barnes & Noble and Amazon or your local bookseller. If you just ask them, they will order it. You can get hold of me through just my website, which is just Nancy Soule, NancySoule.net. And through the contact me, I can stay in touch with people. If there is a little freebie musicians giveaway on the website for just a list of kind of information about the bands that are on board so you can get a kind of feel for what's there and whether you fit into it. If you're just a French horn player, probably not. Sorry. Yeah, but it does itemize, what the instruments are that are involved, what the bands are that are there, what jobs that need to be filled generally. So that's a start, and then contact me. I got all the info, and we'll just do it.
Yes, that's fantastic. Okay, now here is your big question. Are you ready?
Hmm.
What is one piece of advice or encouragement that you want listeners to walk away with? If they hear nothing else from our conversation, what do you want them to know?
That the world is really not very big. It's a really small place. And being able to get out of tiny towns and go out and explore the world is so incredibly enriching. And whether you're doing it as a crew member or you're doing it as a musician or you're just traveling on your own, it's being out there, it just changes your whole perspective on everything, and it's so enriching. And learning how to deal with other cultures and other people, and even though the languages, I mean, we have Google Translate now. You don't have to be held back by languages anymore. I'm working on Duolingo. I've got Rosetta. I'm working on those myself. But if you don't have those and you just have a short-term thing, you just talk yourself into it and you hold it up and they go, oh, blah, 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 blah. It's okay.
Yes.
So technology has made life so much easier, and with the planes and the trains, and it's just, yeah. And the ships are just amazing ways to travel and see the world.
And you are so right. Like the world is, we think of it as, and it is vast in the variety that we have out there. But I mean, just think of how many times you're like, oh, what a small world, because it is. Like it's not so overwhelming that you can't make it happen. And then you get paid to do it. So why not get paid to go see this wonderful world?
And it's such a safe environment. I mean, if there's storms, should go somewhere else. I mean, he's like, no, we don't have to wait and let it hit us. We'll go somewhere else. And, a lot of people say, oh, I can't swim. I say, well, you don't have to swim.
We're not pushing you over.
We're not pushing you over. If there's any emergency, you got a life jacket that totally keeps you safe. I mean, there's a whole chapter about the training, things that you have to go through as far as, evacuation and fire safety and all that sort of thing. And you learn a tremendous amount of stuff that you wouldn't have a chance to learn otherwise. And again, they pay you to do it.
I mean, who doesn't want that? That was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, a no-way situation, I think. But that's my granted. Just, I loved it, and I still do it because I can't stop. So
it becomes an addiction, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so beware. Let's see it. Yeah.
There are worse addictions to have.
I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't want to stop.
Then you're like, I'm home, and now what do I do with myself? I don't know what to do at home anymore.
Well, I pack for the times that I'm in between. I have normally a typical contract for crew for the general population are about 9 months. Musicians are more like 4 months, and you get a 2-month vacation. Not paid, just 2-month vacation. Then you come back. You can go back to the same ship. You may go to another ship. You could put in requests for different itineraries. If you want to go see something else, you're tired of the Caribbean, you want to go to Europe, that's okay. They can make that happen. So allotting those sort of time frames for yourself is kind of the critical element, is deciding what you want to, just give it, as you say, gap year, try it out for a year. If it works, great. If you don't, it's okay. Do something else.
Yeah.
And you got all these things.
Paid.
Yeah. You got all these skills and all the money. It's like, okay, go do something else.
It's amazing. Man, I don't know that I would have done it as much as I'd like to think I would have done it, because it sounds so like I'm ready to do it right now, obviously. But I can see that it would be the perfect fit for like my kid, who is just always ready for something, like always ready for an adventure. Granted, she's only 14, so we've got a minute, but
you got some time.
Yeah. But I'm just thinking those kids who they just need some direction. I think this would be a great first step in finding a direction.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say, primarily the 20s, to even push it to the 40s, 20 to 40s, kind of the core. And that would be, I got in a little later than that, but I'm not telling anybody.
What they don't know, I mean, honestly.
No, as long as you can do the gig, that's all that counts. Yeah, before I did my first one, I wasn't sure what the medical was going to be, so I was doing boot camp. I was running stairs. I was, pumping iron. I was flipping the rope and the tires and all that. So it's like, yes, I'm good to go. So as long as you can speak English and you're in pretty good physical shape, you can make this happen.
That sounds pretty good, actually. I think I'd qualify. Great, that's funny.
At least you can apply. I mean, like I said, the website has a couple of the book has a couple of websites where you can apply. I also have a list of all the different companies of how you can apply directly if you want to look at their job openings. So there's everything, from fitness instructors to secretaries to accountants, all that sort of thing. So
that just expanded it all together because that is a whole nother level of creativity and talents needed on board a ship. So
tech people. Always need tech people.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. Well, Nancy, thank you so much for being here this evening and having this conversation. Like, I've learned stuff. I'm excited and I've learned stuff, and I cannot wait to advertise for people to be like, hey, I've got an idea for you. Because I know people came to mind when you were talking about it. I was like, they just graduated high school and they're sitting there going, I don't know what to do with my life. And I'm like, let me tell you, have you ever considered?
Well, drop them my email. The number 1, my name, NancySoule @gmail. And I will be happy to contact them directly. Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, thank you again. And I hope that your next sale is just a fantastic adventure.